Welcome back. So grade 12s are now facing the exciting yet daunting task of applying for tertiary education. But amid this crucial period, scammers are lurking. Fake online forms, phishing emails and even phone calls are targeting unsuspecting students and their families. So what are the red flags to watch out for, and how can you protect yourself and your family from these online threats? Let's now bring in data and security analytics researcher from the CSIR, that is Muyowa Mutemwa, who is joining us now virtually. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Let's start off here by defining what phishing is.
All right. Morning and good morning to your viewers as well. So phishing is similar to when you go out on a river lake or a river or lake in a boat, and you take a net and you throw it in the river, and you would get all sorts of things living in that fishing net. Sometimes you would get good fish, sometimes you'd get lobsters, sometimes you'd get something that doesn't even make sense. So when you get that, you then sift through it and then you look for what you're looking for. So similar to that in the cybersecurity world, threat actors, they use this term called phishing by sending out messages to everyone. And they hope that at least someone would click, someone of usefulness to them would actually click on that message. And that's typically what we define as phishing.
Yeah, and on the digital space, how does that play out? Is it only via clicking on a link? Is there something in particular that happens? Is there any physical contact or even telephonic conversations that will be taking place?
So this happens in a number of ways. So we receive phishing messages from WhatsApp. We receive phishing messages from SMSs. Those who think that they don't have WhatsApp, they don't receive phishing messages, you actually get them from SMSs as well. We also get them through emails, and we also get them through phone calls. Now, what typically tends to happen is someone will send out these bulk communications with the hope that someone would respond to that message. And when they respond to that message, they are then susceptible to being a victim of this type of crime.
Yeah, and then for the higher education space, what is it then that we need to be looking out for? But is there any other modus operandi that is been known around what happens in this particular space, especially at the beginning of a new academic year?
All right, so what we've seen is there is seasonal types of phishing activity that tends to happen around the country. And at this point in the time of the year, we are seeing a lot of scams related to university acceptance or additional requirements for students and learners to be accepted at universities. And some of these requirements are coming with additional requirements that the parents need to do in order for their applications, for example, to be processed. So things such as the parent is required to pay an additional 200 Rand for that application to be processed. And in that phishing message, all the information that is related to this type of crime is provided. So there's a lot of acceptance that is received by parents, but that acceptance comes with conditions, and those conditions is where the actual targeted phishing attacks is actually related.
Yeah, and for an individual and the family, what is it then that they should be looking out for? Because you can imagine like the anxiety that comes with applying for a tertiary education, which is very different to what happens with basic education. And then on top of that, it's also about securing your space. And we know how limited space is in higher education.
All right. So at this point in time, what parents and students need to be looking for is, as much as possible, do not share your personal information. So for a student who has written matric last year, don't share your examination number with anyone, except for the official channels of the Department of Education. The second one is that treat every message that you get related to either your university acceptance or your results with suspicion. Look at the URL, the link that is sent in the message. Look at the number that is sending the link to you. And if there is a phone number in that message, please do not reply to that message. Rather go to the department, or rather go to the university's official website and get the call center number from there, and then call that number from the website to verify that your information is 100% correct. So what we are advising in a nutshell, the students and the parents, is that when you receive this type of message, observe it, look at it, and look at it with suspicion. Of course, do not delete it, because there sometimes might be important information there. But take your time and look at it, and make sure that you are receiving the right information. The second thing is, if you are required by the message to respond to it, please do not respond to that message. Rather, go to the official communication of the website or the department to actually get the correct information and respond to the numbers on their website. And also just be on the lookout for fake websites as well that are related to universities and also departments of higher education.
Yeah, and with that, that's another one, because you could be looking at the address of that particular website, and it looks like it is authentic. So from that URL, is there anything that we can pick up from it to say that maybe this could be fake?
So within the URL, right on the left-hand side of the URL, there's a little padlock. That padlock, you click on it, it should give you the information of the registration of that website. So there is what you call a public key certificate there. Look at the certificate if you're not sure about that website. In some cases as well, Google the name of that URL and try and see if there's other people that have complained about it. So for me, those are the two important things that you need to look at. The little padlock, look at the information and see if it matches with the URL. And then the second one is just also make sure that you've got the right information from Google as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That's some good advice there. Just sometimes just taking the thing, putting it onto the search button and seeing what pops up. But is there a specific site that is known to actually assist people that are victims of phishing emails and so forth to go onto that site to check whether a certain individual, company or organization is listed on there?
So to my knowledge, I would not know that at this point in time. However, there are different websites that government has set up related to similar things like us. We do have websites that look at companies that have been set up recently, and those companies that have fraudulent activity, we can get that information through the CIPC. Also, in terms of the Department of Higher Education, they do list all the they do list all the high institutions on their websites. So if you're going to your VETS or University of Technologies, all that information is there. So you can actually correlate some of this information there. And also just check with the other students in terms of what information are they receiving. Is it in line with what you're receiving in terms of the requirements that these messages are asking you to do?
Yeah, and we know that ordinarily the primary intention of the people who are behind the phishing is that they want to get money out of you. Using fraudulent means to do so. And this would be money that is deposited into account. They'll tell you that this is a specific account that you can deposit the money into. Is there anything that can be done once you have found out that actually you have become a victim of phishing from the bank's perspective to say that the money was deposited into this particular account, therefore the bank needs to investigate?
All right, so I think that's a very good question. So the first thing you need to do is when you realize that you're a victim of such a crime as this is, please open a police case, because the bank will not be able to assist you with anything if the police case is not open. Get a police case, get a reference number for that case being opened. And once you've done that, you can then approach the banking institution to then alert them of the incident that has occurred. Explain to them in detail in terms of the incident that has happened. And if you're fortunate, the bank can be able to assist you to recover some of the funds. But again, it really does depend on the bank and how they function in terms of recovering such incidents. But it's very important that we report such cases to the police, and we also inform the bank and give them as much information as much as possible. The last one is that when we receive a instruction to pay an amount, always verify that that bank account actually does belong to the institution. You can call the institution through the phone numbers provided on their website and just verify that the banking details you have received on an SMS, on a WhatsApp, on email actually does belong to them.